All right, we're here today with the one and only Mr. Billy Mitchell, star of King of Kong, Chasing Ghosts. What other documentaries have you been in?
A few, and without lying, those are the ones I know. I mean, there's other ones, Frag, where I play lesser parts. And the truth is, I never watch anything that I'm in. So I'm not so good at questions about them. Obviously, the making of them, I'm good at. But I had a professional that I admire very much once tell me, don't read about yourself, don't watch yourself. You'll find yourself being complacent. You'll lose your hunger. You'll think you arrived. He says, read it when you're an old man, you'll find humor. So far I've stuck with that.
And how'd you get into video gaming?
Well, I was really hardcore in pinball, and I was really competitive, and there just wasn't anybody around who was as good as me. And when video games came out, you might find it hard to believe, but I don't like change. I like to stick with things. And I didn't turn to video games initially, but that's where the competition was. That's where all the attention and craze and everything that was fun was going on. So I began to turn my attention there, and I guess I adapted very well, and I had a lot of fun. But most of all, I love the competition. I love the unexpected. I love coming across, meeting people, and stepping up to the challenge. And years go on, things evolve. I find myself doing anything and everything I can to push, promote, and drive competitive gaming because it's a fun pastime. Now that the original gamers are of a certain age, we're falling back on that which we enjoyed so much, but we're creating a playing level for future generations. So we hope. And if we don't, we're going to have fun trying.
And what do you generally think of modern video gaming compared to the old school games?
I'm often asked if you take a modern day gamer compared to an old gamer, modern gamers don't stand a chance. It's not their fault. They could be as good. But the games in the early 80s had one purpose. They didn't tell a story. It wasn't an adventure. It wasn't continue on to the next phase. It was take your money, bang. It was that tough. You had to survive. You had to learn. You had to learn how to advance. And so through hard knocks, that's what we learned. The games of today, obviously they're competitive, but they have far more of a storyline. There's no doubt the graphics are beyond the pale. Anything that it's not even worth discussing. They're so superior. But because the games of yesterday didn't have that advantage, they had to have what I consider a deeper thought level of play, a much more difficult one. I talked to programmers, developers from the 80s, the early 80s, the gentleman who, the professor who created Pac-Man. He worked on it for a year and a half. It's the only thing he worked on. He had a team of 6 other people. Right next to him, I spoke to the guy who works for the same company in that same position. He currently works on 20 to 30 games at a time. He has a team of 30 to 40 people, and they normally take about 2 months. There's a difference. And I guess I like the old way better, but I'm not going to win the argument. No one's going to go back to the old ways.
And do you feel as if you were vilified in King of Kong?
Oh no. If you knew the real me, you'd be afraid to do this interview.
Oh, of course.
But the fact of the matter is, making of the film was tremendously fun. Bringing the people back together who all knew each other was really fun. And I guess when you create a film, if it creates intrigue and emotion, then you do a good job. If the basic storyline has truth, whether historical or whatever, I'm very, very sure that there's not a film made that doesn't have creativity from Hollywood in order to make it. I've seen films that were 100% accurate right down to the T. That's the most boring thing there is. So I wouldn't change anything.
Okay.
I think it's great.
And lastly, outside of video gaming, your other passion, I believe, is hot sauce. So what do you think is the key to making the perfect sauce?
No, my true passion is my family. the fact of the matter is, my greatest gift from God was my wife. And of course, the extension from my wife is my children. And that's where most of my focus goes. I guess I have within my grasp, or I have had all these years, the ability to simply go on the road like a rock star and go to these conventions and have fun and be a hired gun or a hired guest, and maybe in a different day, in a different lifetime, I would do that. I certainly wouldn't trade what I have for that now. But my real job, where I earn an income and support my family, is, yes, I manufacture sauces, hot sauce, wing sauce, things like that. And it wasn't difficult. I basically realized and had a good knowledge of what was on the market, knowing what goes in it. You simply work harder. You simply put more of that which is important. You cut less corners. You just work harder than the next guy. It's not really different than any other part of life.
Absolutely.